Hi guys, so in this example I'm going to be showing you some sample implementation using constructors and inheritance, okay? But you have to be patient with me because sometimes I will just have to pause the video and type the code before I explain, because I don't want to consume so much time explaining something and at the same time typing. Okay guys, so let's look at this example. You see that here we are creating an object of animals. Remember, I said when you're creating an object, then that object has, we use the new keyword and then space, the name of the class, and then a call to a constructor. So here we are calling a constructor. The question now is, when you look at the class animal, okay, you don't see any constructor. So which constructor are we now calling? So the answer is this. Remember I said, when you create a class and you don't add a constructor in that class, then Java is going to add a constructor in that class. Okay, so and that constructor will be called a default constructor. So what we are calling here is the default constructor that is going to be added by Java. Okay, so now what is this on the left hand side? Remember, in Java, when you create any object in Java, it lives on or in a certain portion of memory called the heap. And if you don't assign a reference variable to that object, then that object will exist in memory, but you as the programmer, you never have access to it. And later on in during runtime, the garbage collector will pass and sweep that object away. So in order for us to have access to this object later, we must assign a certain reference variable a to that object. And since that object is an object of animal, then the type of this reference variable must match with the type of the object. That is why the type of our reference variable a is animals. Okay, so that's why when we come here, we can just say a.name, and then if you compile it, you see how it's gonna compile and output the value big cat. Okay, this is the result. So basically what I was trying to illustrate is that if you don't add a constructor in your class, Java is going to add a default constructor. Let me do another example and use it to explain more to you. Okay guys, so let's look at this example. What the heck is happening? When you look at this code, you realize that we have two major problems, and I'm going to start fixing those problems one after the other and explaining the solution to you. So these are the two problems with the code. Now, why is it that we are having an error on this line? The reason is this. Which constructor are you calling here? Remember, I told you in the PowerPoint that once you add a constructor in your class, then Java no longer adds the default constructor. So when you call a constructor, when you create an object and make a call to a constructor, Java will always verify in that class to check whether that constructor exists. So in this case, Java will be verifying in the animal class to see whether there is any constructor that doesn't have a parameter. And it will look and it will be like, oh, I don't know this constructor that you're calling because Java doesn't see it. And then secondly, there is another problem with this class tiger, because tiger is a subclass of animal. And the rules say that if you are a subclass of another class, then your constructor must call at least one constructor in the parent class. So let's start resolving that problem, starting with this one. Okay guys, so when you look at this solution now, or at this code now, you see that one problem has been resolved. Now we have just added big cat here, and when you pass big cat, you are passing an argument to this constructor call. It means that when Java looks in the parent class, it will look for the constructor that receives a single string argument, and it will see that this is the constructor, and Java is going to be happy. So when you pass this, Java will match it with this constructor, and it matches. Okay, now let's resolve the second problem. What the heck? So where did the error go to? So guys, while looking at the code now, you see that all those two errors have just disappeared. So what happened? This is what happened. I just created an object or a constructor in the subclass, and then I've called a constructor, the constructor in the parent class. So these are the rules. If you are a subclass of another class, then your constructor must call at least one constructor in the parent class using the super keyword. Okay, so that is it. That is the solution.